Okay, so I'm going to talk about mindful eating. And so, what exactly is mindful eating? It is changing your relationship with food and your body. So, it's not just specifically cutting back on the types of food you eat, all of that. It's actually just changing the relationship with the time you eat, what you're doing when you're eating, your how you prep your food, how you eat your food, and trusting your body and the intuition to eat properly and when you need to. So it kind of starts off with mindfulness. So mindfulness has many, many different definitions, but the main thing that you want to think about when mindfulness comes apart in your life is awareness that arises through paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally. So paying attention to every little detail, going throughout your day, well, especially when eating, we want to be able to digest our food properly. So when we actually pay attention to how we eat, we're able to digest that food properly. And living through our life non-judgmentally with loving kindness. So not getting mad at ourselves when something doesn't go exactly right, knowing that we will try again. Everything happens for a reason. And there will be times when you slip up a little bit. And sometimes, things just don't work out. That's okay. You'll always have another meal, another day. So love yourself, give yourself time to grow and adapt to different practices. So gaining self-awareness, and this comes from just obtaining more mindfulness practices in your life. And the benefits of this would be improved memory, boost your mood, and you're able to get focused. So why do we eat mindfully? It brings the concept of mindfulness to the experience of eating, which is a pretty basic kind of way of saying it, but basically bringing all five senses into your meal. What do you listen to when you eat? What do you see when you eat? What do you taste when you eat? What's the texture of either your utensils or the actual food, if it's a finger food? I think I hit all of them. Yeah, I think I hit all of them. But also enjoying your food. So you always want to enjoy your food. I read a very good quote. I don't know it exactly, but it said, if you don't like the taste of it, you're not going to eat it, and it's not going to do well for your body. So just don't eat it. Find something else. If that something else isn't the healthiest thing that day because you have to think about it, try again tomorrow. There's always going to be another meal. And you'll have more satisfying meal times. So ask yourself what you can do to make your meal times more satisfying. Is it putting away screens, moving away from distractions, tweaking a recipe, or needing time to breathe throughout our bites? So often that we go through life so fast, we don't take our time to breathe through our bites. So maybe it's putting your utensil down, or if it's a finger food, putting the actual food down so you're able to have that separation between each bite. You also have better health outcomes. So mindful eating, it doesn't directly cause weight loss or other different nutritional based diseases or anything, but because you have more awareness in how you are eating, and oftentimes that will shift towards a healthier option. So mindfulness eating is just pretty much correlated with healthier food. So what does a mindful practice involve? It involves in engaging in the world in a different way. So there's 4 practice principles. It's pressing pause and being present, curiosity and no judgment, sensing, not slowing, and practice, not perfection. So it kind of goes into the whole loving kindness thing. This all takes so much time, and especially as you age, you have these instincts to kind of just do something the right way and the way you've been doing it all these years. And it just takes time to rechange your knowledge and your education based around any mindful practice. Yeah, and these are all ongoing practices. I know I'm still working with mindful eating. I tend to go on TikTok a lot recently while I'm eating, and it's not good. So it's just something to work on and be mindful of. Let's see, why do we eat? The primary reason we get energy and nutrients, and there are 20,000 new foods introduced to the market annually. So how much of that food is really used to gain energy and nutrients, and what is just to fulfill another void? So when we eat to feel, when we only eat to feel, it becomes a complete number game. We live in a way of only looking at how many calories, how many macros, micros, all of that kind of things to sustain ourselves, when really we can't reduce food only to the numbers that are on the box or the label. We need food to survive, yes, but if we don't like the food, or if it doesn't taste good, if it's not satisfying our emotional and mental needs at all, it's not going to satisfy us in the long run. We eat to distract is another big form of why we eat. So we eat when we're bored, we emotionally eat, and we eat to gain other coping mechanisms, and which is fine a little bit. So when you eat emotionally and you want to move past an emotion and past an event in your life, take the one day, if it's a bigger event, a little bit longer in your life, take that time, yes, eat emotionally, feel that void in you, and then try to find other practices and slowly move away from that emotional eating, because we don't just want to eat emotionally. We need to be able to have all of the ways of mindfully eating. So eat to soothe, eat to distract, and eat to physically nutrient ourselves. And the easiest way to kind of do the mindful eating in your life is to journal. So you can journal the last time that you ate, when you decided to eat, what you ate, and if you were able to use your senses. Again, senses is a huge part of mindful eating. When you're actually able to taste your food instead of just scarfing it down, you're able to get much more out of it, especially mentally and emotionally. How did you decide to stop eating? So we all have this intuition in ourselves to tell us to stop eating. Many of us push past it. I know I have very often done that. And we all have a kind of signal to ourselves of when to stop eating. So personally, mine is my breathing will get really, really fast. And that tells me that, one, I ate too fast, and two, I pushed past my limit of how much I could eat. And what thoughts and emotions came up when you were finished eating? So if it was more of a hometown meal of what you grew up with, what thoughts and emotions, memories even came up with that meal? Memories are a huge part of food. Food is a huge part of being with family. So really live in those memories for a little bit. Live in those thoughts and emotions of feeling loved and being at home and being with family. And maybe it was from a special vacation that you went on. Live in those memories. They're a part of us, they're who we are, and we want to be able to live in that a little bit. So this is all changing our habits. We want to be able to have a good set of habit tracking devices. So you want to be able to track your situations, your emotions, and events. So maybe it's that little prickly person in your life that you interact with, and then you go eat a chocolate bar, or you're at work and it's a very stressful day and you're full of emotions of stress and anxiety. What do you eat when you go home? Is it something good for you, or is it just some quick snack that you can find on the counter? This is all part of changing habits and noticing your thoughts and emotions surrounding food. So use mindful eating as a tool to explore why you're eating. And stay in the present moment. A big part of we grab something really fast is because we're constantly thinking of the next thing that we need to do, the next thing that we need to get done. And while staying in the present moment, we're able to shift our focus and take the pressure off the unknown future, and being able to live in the moment and live with what we're doing right now and eating what we're about to eat now. So what to look forward to for mindful eating in your body? You're able to live with more awareness and embodiment. self-acceptance, and gratitude. Because our bodies are truly an amazing thing. They know exactly what they need and when they need it and how much they need it of. We just need to tune in and listen. In your brain, you're able to change patterns and behaviors through mindful eating. So once again, kind of slowing down, thinking about why you're eating, what made you actually pick up that food, all of that. At the table, you're able to actually have a mindful meal from start to finish. I know I grew up sitting around the table with my family, all eating dinner. Sometimes we would have Wheel of Fortune on, many times we wouldn't. We'd live in that moment of being with the family. But even when we had the TV on watching Wheel of Fortune, it was just really fun. It was a great family time. And then as I grew out of my house, my home with my family, I started at least not being so mindful around that. I started watching TV while I ate, and then I saw the increase of the amount of food I eat because I was paying attention to the TV and not my food. So being able to have that mindful meal from the beginning to the end, I'm able to slow down and eat more mindfully. So that's a big thing, is having that mindful meal from the beginning to the end. And mindful lifestyle. Mindfulness is a trickling effect throughout your whole entire life. If you bring it through one part of your life, often it will show up in other areas as well. So a good exercise to do when you're mindful eating is taking more often finger food, because you want to be able to feel the food, but you can also do it with a utensil or just be a little bit differently. So you would notice, without even touching it or picking up the food, you notice the color, the shape, the size, and the texture. And then live in that moment for a little bit, examining the food. And next you would pick up the food, and then you'd go through those same things: color, shape, size, and texture. And then you would also smell the food once you pick it up. And notice the smell. Can you guess the smell, or can you guess the taste by the way that it smells? And then you just take a little tiny bite, and then you go through those same things again. Taste, how does it feel on your tongue, texture, the warmth of the food if it's a warm food, the coolness of the food if it's a cool food. And then take a moment to actually reflect after this exercise, and even after every meal. What was it like to taste your food in this way? How does it compare to the way you normally eat? So use your meal to fully embody the food. Food is a great representation or expression of a quality or an idea in a physical form, where a lot of love gets put into food. When you can feel love in food, you can feel a lot of other emotions in food too when it's not cooked with love. My favorite memory is when me and my dad, we went to Subway, and when I was very young, he said that he could tell the sandwich was not made with love. And and he finished it, but he was not happy throughout the whole thing. That's, I think, my earliest memory of really food. So start to notice the types of hunger as well. So the physical stomach hunger, noticing that stomach hunger. Desire, which is more of a brain hunger. What are you're craving, desiring for specific food? Or emotional or heart hunger, looking for food to fill an emotional void. Or taste, mouth hunger, you're looking for a specific taste. I often crave milk for no reason other than I just want that sweet milk. Well, I know Cameron will give me a reason, but but like, it's just that specific milk that I want, and no reason, just I want milk. I love the sweetness of milk. And listening to your fullness signals inside of your stomach, your heart, your mind. Listen to those signals. Your body will tell you when to stop eating. So often our diet culture says when you feel full, you have eaten too much. Oftentimes, by the time we reach the feelness of fullness, you've gone too far. We want to, and Cammy will talk more about this, about how much space you need after you eat. But oftentimes that's way too much of what we need. You don't need to clean your plate. Use room for leftovers. You want to actually feel and acknowledge this fullness. press pause, be present, listen to your body. Take time in between bites to tell you maybe you don't need to take the next bite. And sensing and not slowing. So take at least 20 minutes to finish your meal. This will give you enough time to register fullness fully when it happens. And live in curiosity and not judgment. This is a lifelong habit that you probably built up when you were very young to finish your plate, finish your whole entire meal, finish until you feel full. This is a very hard thing. If you are eating too much, start to narrow your plate down, smaller plates, and finish that, and then notice how you feel. Really listen to your body, and don't just go grab another plate just because you want more food, but really listen to your body and listen to what it needs. It may tell you that you don't need to get another second helping of food, that it's okay the way it is. And practice, not perfection. Again, this is all practice, lifelong practice of getting curious and observing different scenarios and how they affect your body and eating habits. And another thing that you can do for noticing your fullness is the fullness hunger scale. So the first scale is unpleasantly hungry or starving, pleasantly hungry, ready to eat, neutral, pleasant, pleasantly full, satisfied, unpleasantly full, or stuffed. So you want to kind of be in those middle ranges. You want to be able to be hungry, but not starving. You want to be able to either be neutral or pleasantly full and satisfied. So ask yourself before you eat, where are you on your scale? You don't want to get to the point where you're starving, but you still want to be able to feel that hunger. But you also don't want to feel stuffed, but you want to feel satisfied. And stop fighting your body. Your body knows what it needs. So ditch pretty much all the diets out there. A diet is a pattern of eating. It's not a lifelong meal. It's only really an attempt to lose weight, and there is no quick fix to really anything. It's a lifelong practice. And the intentional weight loss will come back. Our body keeps our weight in a range, so it knows the healthy weight range that it should be in, and it'll try to keep your body there as much as possible. So when you lose a significant amount of weight, your body thinks that it is starving to death. When you eat too much, it's going to go the other way. You're overstuffing it. So we live in a stigma where, a little more extra meat on your bones means that you're overweight and you're fat. No, that just means you're a little bit more huskier, like me. I'm just a little huskier, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I like that. I actually like to call it fluffy. I'm just a little fluffy. So you manage your weight for health reasons above all else. Eat the way that you need to, but question if food rules don't apply to you. So a lot of fad diets out there, a lot of them just don't apply to everybody. Know what you need and be aware of what you need. Just because it may work for others does not mean that it will work for you. We all are very different in what we need. And I'm going to finish with this. Appreciate yourself. Focus on non-judgment and loving kindness. That is the biggest thing I can tell you. Avoid comparison to every other person in your life because every other person is completely different than you. Forgive setbacks in your life because, once again, this is a lifelong practice. We're all doing this together, and we are all going to fall back a little bit. That's why we have each other. Find your community to eat healthy and to be mindful of this practice. And practice gratitude. Be thankful for the food in front of you, no matter if it's a small salad or a big steak or whatever else you eat. Be thankful for it and show gratitude for how that food came to your plate. The growers, the farmers, the transportation people, the workers in the grocery store, it all matters. My favorite part of when I was in teacher training with Cami was she would always thank every single person for her food, and it completely changed the meal for me. And I love that practice, and I brought that into my own life, and I love it. So, yeah, live mindfully and eat mindfully, and it'll change the rest of your life. All right. Thank you.
All right.